Hey everyone, in today's video we are taking a look back at some of the brand new makeup that I tried in 2024 that I didn't really love. There was just something about it that I didn't quite gel with for one reason or another. I'm not saying that it's the worst makeup of 2024, it's just my own personal opinion. And so in this video I want to give this makeup a real second and maybe third chance to see what I really feel about it. So if having a look back at some 2024 makeup sounds like something that you might be interested in, then please do keep on watching. I just want to reiterate what I said in the intro, and that's that I'm not saying that any of this makeup is absolutely terrible. And so if there is something here that you absolutely adore, that you absolutely love, then that is brilliant. Remember, makeup is just so personal, it's so subjective, so what works for one won't necessarily work for another. I just don't get on with some of these products, but I'm hoping that by giving them another chance that I might. I think it's really important to go back to makeup that you didn't really get along with maybe the first or the second time. And this was really true for me recently in a recent faves to fails video where I spoke about one concealer in particular, which was the Fenty Wear Even Hydrating Concealer. I loved it to start with and then I just stopped picking it up. But thanks to that video, I have been picking that concealer up pretty much every day and it's become a fave again. So I think it's really important to go back to products that you maybe thought you hated because there might be some love in there somewhere. We are kicking off with eyes. I really did and ah about including this palette because I do actually like it, but I just think it's very overpriced. And it's this palette from Nars. It's the Nars Irresistible Glow palette. Okay, let me take you through my train of thought. So I bought this when it was only available over in the US and Canada, and it cost 82 Canadian dollars. And here's the thing, I knew what I was buying. I know that it is a typical Nars colour story. If you know me at all, you'll know that I pretty much buy palettes based on the shimmers. But I will say that the shimmers in here are not very shimmery. They just come across as quite dull on the eyelid, all right? And if I'm paying 82 Canadian dollars, I don't want dull on my eyelids. I use this palette, believe it or not, for the mattes. I know, me, using a palette just for the mattes. No matter what combination I use with this palette, the looks come out looking the same. And I think if you are paying 82 Canadian dollars or 60 US dollars, or you're paying 60 pounds, whatever you're paying, you need a little bit of versatility in a palette. Really do want to find you the best there is out there. And I don't want you to waste your money. I think Nars produce incredible eyeshadows. I just think that something just prevents this being worth the high price tag. So we'll start off with this transition shade here. And I'm just using my BK Beauty 202. This is actually the second time that I filmed this video. Yes, I had filmed this video yesterday and my mic had died. I don't know what this mic is doing recently, but it's not my friend. Nothing worth doing is ever easy, hey? That's what they say. I think like Nars eyeshadows are a little bit underrated because of their constant and consistent colour story. You know, it's always the same. It's always the warm tones, always the pinks, always the bronze. Nothing any different. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, why are you bothered? Because you're so boring with your eyeshadow. And I know I am. I know I am. But sometimes I do like a little bit of a cool toned look. You have to give people some versatility sometimes, and if you're paying an absolute fortune for a palette, you want more than the same look over and over again. I'm then going to take my Refa 14, which is a smaller brush, and I'm going to go in down here with this little matte. I did actually mean to say that I didn't have any brow products that I absolutely hated this year, so I guess that's a good thing. These are super pigmented, so you don't need a lot. So we're going to go in with this pink here. So I'm going to use my finger for this. I think that's another thing. They don't come out the same as what they look in the actual pan. So that for me is a very light pink, and I just don't think it translates like that on the eyelid. Let's go in with this just on the inner corner. All right, I'm going to go in with this darker shade with my Real Techniques base shadow brush. I will continue to use this palette for the mattes. The shimmers, I can genuinely take or leave. So I have tried a few different mascaras this year and mascaras that I haven't truly loved. But there's one mascara that really did stand out to me as being pretty poor. And I did review this earlier in the year and it really wasn't for me because it just ends up all over my face. It's a mascara from Essence and this is the Call Me Queen mascara. I love Essence mascaras. This definitely ends up on my bad list, literally flakes under my eyes. Now, I'll use it today and it might look fine, but then by the end of the day, it's going to look pretty terrible. And I can guarantee that. It's a bit flimsy. Yeah, it just doesn't tick my boxes when it comes to mascara, but let me pop it on and we'll see how it performs during this video. The mascara looks absolutely fine. It's the performance of it as the day goes on. We'll see if it ends up all down my face as this video goes on. I have two concealers that I didn't really get along with this year and I'm really sad about. One especially because it's so expensive and it's the Westman Atelier Vital Skincare Concealer. I just cannot get this to work. And the new MAC Studio Radiance Concealer, which you know I have tried several times on this channel, but I am still willing to give them another go. So this is MAC. I had such high hopes for this concealer. It's designed to be a hydrating concealer, one that doesn't crease, something that is perfect for mature, aging, dark under eyes like mine. And this is the shade 17. Nothing wrong with the shade. Shade was absolutely fine. It just was very textured on my under eyes and didn't feel hydrating. It covered quite well, but it just didn't look good on my under eyes. A different problem with this one. There's the Westman Atelier concealer. It's M1 and it's just bright yellow. And I just can't get it to work on my under eyes. And how much did it cost me? 40, nearly 50 pounds I think it was for that concealer, and I just find it unusable. I know so many people love it and that's amazing, but even if you took the shade away, as soon as it went on my under eyes it creased, but it didn't get worse as the day went on. Okay, so it creased straight away and then stayed like that all day. Just looked quite dry, but I'm willing to give them both another shot today. So we'll do Westman Atelier on one side and we'll do MAC on the other. So we'll go Westman Atelier over here. You can see how dark my under eyes are. This is a very, very, very full coverage concealer, so you do not need a lot of it. So this is the Angie Hot & Flashy A506 and we're just gonna tap it in. I think that's gone on fine, but it's still not the right shade. It's still not my shade. I would suggest if you have this or you're planning on getting it, just build up rather than go in heavy-handed. Let's have a close look. That's not too bad actually. Okay, so it's trying to make a show of me. No, it's not bad at all. I mean, I can still see a bit of darkness peeking through, but I haven't used a colour corrector, which I normally would these days. I can see a little bit of creasing forming, but I think overall, better than normal. So let's go in with the MAC. I really wanted to love this concealer, so let's see how it goes today. So I'm taking my other Angie Hot & Flashy and just tapping that. So I don't think that looks too bad at all. But one thing I want to say about this matte concealer that people don't seem to be talking about online is it does have glitter in there. It has light reflective particles, and no review that I've seen on this concealer mentions it, but it has it. Now, I don't mind it because I like the Charlotte Tilbury concealer and it has the exact same thing. So I don't have an issue. But I think people need to know about it, and I don't think people are talking about it. Oh God, it's so dry, look. It's gone on really dry there. And I know some of my regular viewers will be like, why do you still have that MAC concealer? Throw it in the bin, please. I just really struggle because I just like to give things chances. What is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Right, should we move on to foundation? So it's the Fenty Soft Lit Luminous Foundation, which was released earlier this year. And I did a little review on this when I was reviewing a few other products. I did explain that I'd really tried hard to love the foundation and that I'd grown to like it more than I did, but it's very inconsistent and it's continued to be inconsistent for me. I don't really love this foundation, all right? So I didn't like it when I first used it, then I liked it, and now I don't like it again. So I have this in the shade 225, which is supposed to be an olive shade. I will say that I don't think this is my current shade. I think it's a bit too light, but maybe it will be. I don't know. So what's my problem with this foundation? I think it's very much the same as the concealers. I find it to be quite drying. It makes me sad because there are so many people I've seen online that have literally, in such a short space of time, they've been through bottles and bottles of this because they love it so much and because it's just perfect for their skin. So obviously it seems like it's a me problem. I just find it to be very inconsistent. Some days it will look beautiful and maybe it's when my skin is more hydrated. But some days it just looks super heavy and unflattering. I thought it would be more hydrating, just not one that I ever put on and think, gosh, your skin looks really good today. I don't think that very often with this foundation, and that's a problem for me. Just taking a look. It doesn't look bad, right? It doesn't look bad on my cheeks. It doesn't look bad on my forehead. It gives a really good amount of coverage. I feel like it emphasizes problematic areas for me. So for example, my pores, it sits in around my nose and my smile lines. It tends to cling on to textured, problematic, drier areas. I have much better foundations out there that give me a really nice complexion. I've not changed my mind about the foundation. It's too hard work for me to get it to look good. But if you love this foundation, I'm so happy for you. I think on the right skin, I think this would be a phenomenal foundation. It just doesn't really agree with me. I don't actually have any contour on my list of makeup that I didn't like this year, but I do have one bronzer that stood out to me, and I don't actually think I spoke about it on the channel because I didn't like it. It's this one by Catrice. I know you're thinking, what is that? Why does it look like that? Why does it look like a dumbbell? I don't know why, but everything about this bronzer I do not like. This is the Catrice Bronzing Cushion Stick, and just everything about this bronzer is just a no-go for me. So the packaging, so you pull off the end and look, can you see? See how it's just spurting out? You twist to dispense and look at how much product has come out there and I've not even done anything to it. So that's the first thing. I hate the applicator. I just don't get it. I just don't get it, all right? I don't understand. This is called CO2 Son of Mykonos. I like the name actually. But I find that this bronzer, I mean, it's nice and warm, which I do like in a bronzer. I'm just tapping it out with my A507 BK Beauty. I just find that it can get a bit orange. I like warm, but I don't really like orange. And I find that it borders. I just don't like reaching for this. I just never, ever want to reach for it since I got it. And that's why I've never featured it in a review. But I thought this was as good a time as any. I guess from a distance, it's fine. From a distance, my makeup might look okay today, but up close, believe me, it does not. This will be getting decluttered at some point. I do actually have a few blushes that I wanted to share with you that didn't really work for me this year. And the one that stands out is the new Maybelline Sunkisser blush. This is actually a blush and a bronzer. I don't know whether it's the shade that I have. So this is the shade City Sizzle, and I'm going to use a tiny amount of this because I actually want to show you another one. Can you see how, first of all, how sheer it is? So I would advise, if you have this blush, to pick it up on a brush and then put it onto the face. However, Maybelline tell you that you should dot dot blend. All right, but there's a big problem when you dot dot blend with this. It's that the dots remain. I'm going to use my Rare Beauty blush brush, and I'm just going to quickly just put a dot on my face, and then I'm going to blend. See? See, the dot is still there. Still there. Okay, well, I may as well just take my makeup off now. Look, let me show you again. Dot. Barely anything there. You can still see the dot. Okay, so we're not dotting and blending with this. Don't dot with the Sunkisser blush. I'm not using any more of that. That's my issue with this, and I just find that when I do actually have it on, it's very, very sheer. It's too sparkly for me, and what a shame, because Maybelline make some of the best products at the drugstore, but this just wasn't the one for me. But I do want to show you another blush, and you might be surprised at the one I want to show you. Okay, this isn't about the actual formulation of this blush, because I love this blush, and it's an e.l.f. blush. It's the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blush. And in my review video, I tried 2 shades, and oh my gosh, they were a disaster, and they continue to be a disaster. And it's these 2 insanely pink shades. So one is Pinky Promise and one is Coming in Hot Pink. I don't know how people are getting these to work. I don't know what it is about these shades, but I can't get them to blend properly. I can't get them to work on me and on my skin tone. So obviously a very personal thing. So let me show you them. So Pinky Promise, Coming in Hot Pink, and actually out of the 2 of these, I would go for this insanely pink shade. Let's have a go at it today. See how it treats me. And I am just going to pick up, oh my gosh, like literally the tiniest amount. I don't know what it is about these. I don't know whether, because the pigment is just so insane on these, it just comes across as patchy. I mean, that's not too bad, but do not put these directly on your face. Please do not do that, because it will be a disaster. Don't know what it is, but I find that this shade, these 2 shades, they just dry down really fast, and I struggle to blend them. I don't know, it's probably in my head. They are 2 colours that after today, I will never use again. Look at how patchy it looks on my face. Look at my face. I'm going in with my foundation brush to try and soften it up. So I saved it from an absolute disaster. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not right for me to include something because of the shade, but those shades feel different to me than the other Camo Liquid Blush, and I don't know whether it's because of the pigment in these really, really pink shades. I would love to know if you have a Pinky Promise or Coming in Hot Pink, and if you actually love them and make them work. If you do, obviously, then I am the problem here. I am the problem here, and I'm happy to take that. I don't like how they look on my skin, and please, this is not taken away from the other shades. I love the liquid blushes. I love the Camo liquid blushes. I think they're phenomenal, but there's just something about these 2 shades that I can't get to work. But yeah, they are the blushes. So the Maybelline, those 2 e.l.f. shades, just a no-go for me, and 3 blushes that I'm never going to pick up again. Let me finish off my lower lash line and I'll be back in a little minute. I've decided not to use powder today because I usually powder under my eyes, and I don't want to add anything dry to my under eyes, so I'm leaving them as they are. So for lips, my choice is very, very personal, and I've not got a lip liner, but I have 1 lipstick, and it's the MACximal matte lipstick. MAC reformulated their matte lipsticks, their satin lipsticks, a bunch of their lipsticks. And one that fell victim to the reformulation is my Holy Grail Velvet Teddy. So this is the new Velvet Teddy. In the reformulation, in improving the formula, they have changed the shade. And this is a shade that I'd worn for many, many years, and now I can't get the old Velvet Teddy. So I still have one left. So I'll just show you the difference between the two. So this is the old Velvet Teddy, and this is the new Velvet Teddy. So there's the old and there's the new. So the old Velvet Teddy is much more brown than the pink of the new Velvet Teddy. Don't not like the new shade. I think it's nice on its own as a standalone, but I want to be able to get my old Velvet Teddy. So this is a really personal choice, okay? That's why I've chosen this. The fact that I'm sad about the reformulation, I'm sad that I can't get my lipstick that I've loved for years and years and years. They did claim to have improved the formula as well. I'm going to say that the new MACximal is very comfortable, okay? There's nothing wrong with it. But it's definitely not as creamy as the old one. Definitely not as creamy, and it's not as opaque either. So let's get the new one on. So that's the new Velvet Teddy, and honestly there's nothing wrong with this shade. I really do like it. I really do want to mention that in regards to their reformulations with the satin lipsticks, they have changed them too, and they have changed the shades, and they have changed some of my favorites there too. However, I will say that I do think the new satin formula is much better. This formula, I don't know, it feels drier, and my lips look a little bit drier than what they do with the old. So I don't know, I'd love to hear what your experiences have been with the new reformulations. I know somebody commented just this morning actually to say that they much prefer the new Velvet Teddy shade, and I'm so pleased that people are finding the new shade much better for them. It's the whole change thing, isn't it? You know, when you've loved something for so long and then it's taken away, when something's discontinued, it always hurts a little bit, doesn't it? So I think that's just what I'm going through. But yeah, I'd say that the sleek satins are great. I'm not fully on board with the matte reformulations just yet. I think they've done a good job, but I'm just not there yet. I'm just not there yet. So have I changed my mind about anything? I mean, I still don't like the concealers. I don't think that the MAC looks quite as bad as what it has done in the past. The foundation just doesn't look good today. It looks very heavy. It feels dry on my face. And, you know, that's obviously my skin, because so many people think this is a hydrating foundation. I think the eyes are fine. Not worth 80 Canadian dollars though. I think the mascara is behaving the most at the moment, but if it flakes by the end of the day, I'm going to insert that footage somewhere here now so that you can see how it actually performed. So has today changed my mind on any of these? Absolutely not. And it's not for want of trying. So there's two items that I will continue to use after today. It's the Nars palette. I will continue to use particularly the mattes out of there, and I will continue to use the matte MACximal. These two will survive. The rest of them, I don't know what I'm going to do with those. So please do let me know, what makeup did you try this year that you just did not get along with? Let us know down in the comments. Let us know what it was and why it didn't work for you. And again, please, if you love any of these products, if these are your holy grails, that is amazing. This is not a reflection on you or your preferences. In fact, this video makes me look bad, not you. It's great that you love them. So keep using them, and keep loving them, because my gosh, the more money we save, the better life is going to be. So in the next video, I'm going to be taking you through my absolute favorites from 2024, and I'm very, very excited for that video. So make sure you don't miss it. Thank you so much for joining me for this video. I so appreciate you being here with me. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video. But until then, take care.